Welcome to Harmonized. I am your host, Gigi Naval, integrative and functional registered dietitian nutritionist, here to help you harmonize your gut and hormone health for improved metabolic health. I'm excited to start this 6-part series on minerals. Minerals are so important. They are the spark plugs of our hormones, and they are so needed to help the enzymes in our body do what it needs to do so that other processes can take place. And today we will talk about calcium. I think sometimes calcium could be considered as an underdog because it's not given enough spotlight. It's not given enough airtime. And we should give it as much attention as anything else that we need for our bodies. Okay, so let's start off with this. A lot of times when we think of calcium, we think, oh, okay, it's needed for bones and for teeth. And a lot of us think that's it. But no, God created calcium to be used in other areas of our body. So think of calcium as calming, and it helps soothe us. Yes, it does, because it is involved with producing neurotransmitters like serotonin. It helps us feel good. It is also involved with our muscle contraction and relaxation. And so if we don't have enough of that, our neurotransmitters won't be produced at a level that it should. I mean, there are other reasons that actually affect the neurotransmitters, but this is one of them, not having enough calcium. Because we need the neurotransmitters to be produced, but you need calcium. And it helps us feel relaxed. It helps us feel good, not only mentally, but also physically because of its involvement with our muscles. And we have to also think of this, that calcium, because it is involved with our neurotransmitters, it can also help us with our sleep. It can also help in producing melatonin. And of course, we need that in order to get some really good deep sleep. However, let's take it back a little bit. Many of us and many of my clients, in fact, the majority of them, except for one in my lifetime, but everybody else, including myself, up until I had done my own hair tissue mineral analysis test, we, the people, are not consuming enough calcium. And our body tries to always prioritize homeostasis, or what we call equilibrium in our blood, in the serum. Excuse me. And so here's the thing. Our body thinks, oh, it's so important to prioritize the normal level of calcium in the blood. Okay, well, I don't care where I'm going to get it from. I see that my person is not eating enough of calcium-rich foods or drinking enough beverages that are rich in calcium. That's fine. I will help myself. Oh, hey, look they have bones. They've got teeth. I will go ahead and pull from there. So when that's happening, when we are not consuming enough, then it actually gets pulled into our cells. And when it gets pulled into our cells, the body is not utilizing calcium correctly. And when calcium gets pulled into the cells, it makes our cells become less permeable. Our cells are supposed to become permeable to allow potassium to get into our cells, to allow the potassium to help our thyroid hormones get into our cells. That's where they're needed. But if the calcium becomes blocked, if it becomes less permeable, then potassium won't be able to get into the cells. Thyroid hormones won't be able to get into the cells. And, you might go to the doctor and have blood drawn and they'll say, oh, your thyroid hormones are fine. It might be fine in the serum, in the blood, but it might not be fine where it needs to go into. And again, that is the cells. So this is not a good thing when our cells become less permeable, because that will affect many processes in our body, including our hormones. And a lot of people think, oh, when I get older, it's inevitable that weight will come on, and it's because of aging. Well, no, it's not that really. It's because, one, we don't continue to build or maintain muscle mass. That's helpful to prevent sarcopenia. And then we are not consuming enough calcium. And when we're not, and our cells become permeable, that slows down our metabolic rate. Okay, what else? What else did I write down? I wrote down my notes on this pad that was given to me, this notepad, by one of my former students who just graduated a couple months ago. And I just love it so much because it has all these strawberries all over. So shout out to my former student, Allison. And so that's why I'm putting my notes here. Okay, so here's another good reason for us to make sure that we are consuming enough calcium. Calcium works hand in hand with magnesium to assist our pancreas in helping our insulin that is produced from the pancreas to become sensitive and to help the insulin work the way that it should. And so if we're not consuming enough calcium, then that contributes to potentially insulin resistance. There are many reasons that can contribute to insulin resistance, and this is one of them. And so it's so important to consume enough calcium every single day, but that's not enough, okay? But I will say, for everyone up until menopause, everyone should be consuming at least 1,000 milligrams of calcium per day. Then when you get older, you need to bump it up to 1,200 milligrams per day. And it is truly best to get it from actual food items and beverages that are rich in calcium, okay? And to really stay away from supplements, because when you oversupplement, that can lead to having calcium put in more areas of tissue where it won't be used, and that can lead to many medical conditions that we don't want. But yes, it is important to consume enough, but then you have to make sure that you are producing enough stomach acid, because if you're not, then you won't be able to absorb calcium well. You won't be able to absorb calcium well in order for the calcium to do its job. Okay, if you have any questions about this, please go ahead and put it down in the comments below. But in the meantime, do your best to make sure that you are consuming at least 1,000 milligrams of calcium per day if you are not in menopause yet, okay? And then when you're older, and even for older men, so older men and women in menopause and andropause, bump it up to 1,200 milligrams per day. But if you are a younger individual, both male and female, then make sure to consume at least 1,000 milligrams per day. This is going to be a game changer. All right. In all that we do, and all that we eat and drink, let us do it all for the glory of God.